seen some more of the team fighters. I think specifically Misfortune climbs up in priority, especially against someone like this Corki. But
Jinx.
I mean, we've been seeing Xayah. Jinx usually comes out around 3 and 4, usually as a lot of the tanks are, a lot of the champions such as Vi are already gone. But
Maybe
we'll see.
Ezreal's I see a
Yeah,
lot of game 2s in
that's
as
good,
well.
especially into a Corki. I think that's fine.
Misfortune, though, looking like could be the trade here for Starry. It's important to mention, this is where we expect pays. Every 80 carry player, not even in the LPL region, knows all about Ashe duty. It was an unfortunate game for Pays. Really hard to step up and help JDG push through some of their struggles in the early game. Now, this is where Pays can get back into that groove. We saw him against Ultra Prime on a pick like Corki, as we do see the Zyra come through, and we know that both Shun and Hung have taken this into the jungle already, so you got to expect that to be Hung's pick here.
Ooh, here we go.
AP on AP.
Lock in. So another game of Shin hooking up the Nidalee. We got to see it in their first game against Ultra Prime. I think he did pretty well. He was one of the drivers again for that game and really, really aggressive. Although into a Zyra, I don't think you're going to have the same level of success here. So what I want to see from JDG is going to be some really beefy frontliners. You already have this Nidalee. You do have the Corki. I think a Renekton pairs incredibly well. This is one of the OG combos. If it's not a Renekton Elise, it's going to be Renekton Nidalee to be able to set up. But we do need to have, I think, a strong mid laner that also is able to play around this. And I think Yone starts to come to mind, especially for someone like Scout, who has made a really big name for himself within the last couple years of this champion being available.
At this point, I think Yone might just be hotly contested by both these mid laners, because on the switch side here for Linfeng, you already have the AP support in the jungle with the Zyra, and Linfeng has shown a proficiency on the Yone as well. So if you have you take the usual damage archetype arguments, it's an open pick here for OMG. We do see the Rel clean out that last phase of picks here, as we're going to try to put Moham, our MVP of game number 1, back in a similar spot, trying to get these multi-man lockdown engages. And if you thought they were easy for him on Rakan, wait till you see what Rel's kit allows you to do.
It says most play champion in his career, one of his best champions all time that he can be able to pick up. So Rel here is great. You also have it into someone like this Renekton. I think you're setting up really well for someone like Misfortune, but we get on the back end of this, JDG are the ones to take away the Yone. Very, very interesting to me. So probably going for double mages in the mid lane. I'm thinking of other AD mid laners that we could get from Scout. I mean, Mbessa is available, and that was actually the pairing that we did see come out from JDG. So maybe that's something that they're going to be looking towards.
Hey, all I'm saying is, set tab over on Thunder Talk pulled out a game for Yasuo. But
true.
He did also have, technically, he had all 4 of his other champions could create knockups for him. That is not really a reality in this game. Nope, not whatsoever. I will say, if Scout wants to get real spicy with it, you can block a lot of Misfortune damage, if not all of it, in team fights if you throw up that wind wall at the right time. So that's a little bit of a gotcha. But we actually see the Yasuo get a respect ban. So they were worried about Linfeng playing it into this, lower ranged comp, which I do actually like a lot as a bit of a respect play.
Ooh, blind Ornn here.
Corki
You're already
mid?
playing into the Renekton. Does fine. Yeah, Corki has been a flex. Wouldn't be surprised to see it go towards the mid lane, especially for someone like Scout, who in this last year, I think, really started to pick up this champion. 8-5 last year for this champion, and does allow for Pays to play a little bit more poke. So now your support needs to be extra tanky. It needs to be someone that's going to be able to sit in the front line. Braum is no longer available. I think either Poppy or Alistar are going to be very big finds here for JDG.
Can't pick that.
Nope. Get away from that, low bro. Get away from that, low bro.
Could not lock that. All right, the Poppy is going to be the pick here. A lot of early game agency. I'm speaking too soon here. The Alistar. We'll see. Missing's toying with our hearts, so the big bowl gets locked in here. That does provide the front line you need. But on the other side, OMG, man, we are just leaning into team fight and scaling. If you could combo the Zyra and Misfortune damage together alone, that's already scary enough. And if we lock a Smolder, man, it's GG at 35 minutes. I don't care how much of a gold lead JDG's holding.
Unironically, Linfeng on Aurelia would have slapped here. I think he would have had a huge game to play. The only problem is maybe you're playing into Alistar, but the rest of this JDG team, I think, would have not been able to stand up to you. It's going to be that Smolder, so great front line for Linfeng this time around, and this would be such a big game for OMG to win, because everybody, I think, can say, okay, you won game 1, you had a really strong early game, JDG weren't really awake, they hadn't had that, like, you know, maybe their first cup of coffee, that happens. Can you really take a game 2? You know, they can say 1 game is a fluke, 2 games is maybe a pattern, and 3 games on a best of 5 just means that you're just straight up better than this team, at least on the day. So I want to see what they can do. I think that their team composition is a little bit more easy when it comes to execution, but it is very, very simple in what it wants to do. So I want to see how they're able to execute on this, and it's up to JDG to prove that they can actually beat this team composition. Because like we were saying, scaling is on their side. You have this execute that's going to happen, the eventuality of a Smolder.
Zyra scaling is also not to be toyed with. I mean, the plants, the stacking burns and slows that you can go with specific build paths. What I am most excited to see here, though, is the JDG not backing down from the fact that they had probably their worst. I mean, there's a small sample size again, but their worst early game of the split so far. So they're leaning into Shun to play this Nidalee to unlock them, and you've got the power of the Moramana stacking bros, Corki and Ezreal, to come through as well into that mid-game stage. But this is a classic time bomb ticking through for OMG the second they get onto the Rift. Very different vibe switch, though, because OMG, as nice as this comp is going to look for team fighting and scaling, they definitely have to, I feel, play a bit cautious in the early game in multiple lanes, if not really all of them.
Yeah, So there's a lot of strong 2v2 potential from the bottom side here. I mean,
Right.
From JDG. Misfortune Rel, Misfortune having one of the more broken kits, especially for a level 1 champion. And JDG, yet again, gets spotted early on here for this level 1 invade. Great ward coming in from the side of what I'm going to assume is Linfeng, since the only one really here in this bottom side of the jungle. And what I want to see from JDG in their bot lane, sorry, they're the ones with the Ezreal and Alistar, is Alistar should be able to prevent Moham from moving, so JDG has to be really, really careful about where they place vision so that they can spot out Moham and try to track him, have Alistar match. We're already seeing now they're swapping it. They want to stop from Hung from setting up on the Zyra, so taking any plans away early on is a really good start.
They're just taking complete control here. Spears are landing for Shun, looking to get back into a bit of a groove. Good poke damage down. Pretty similar start to game 1, just kind of flipped side to side. And yeah, here we go once again. It's now not JDG's bottom lane trying to walk in and cancel a clear. It's Moham and Starry who have full vision on Shun during his clear. This thing's not too far behind. Moham will spot him and Pace coming across. Starry's got to be careful with how much forward he wants to go. But Shun is far too low. Ignite, one more flash, and Moham's at it again. First blood over to OMG, and Shun is in complete disaster mode. Oh, remount comes across from Moham, and Mystic's flash goes down. Next target is going to be Pace. He's got his flash available, does immediately burn it, does not have the arcane shift. Moham does not get the crash down to set up that second kill, but it's another great start for OMG.
Wow, just fantastic. I love the patience that they showed there. They know that they don't have to immediately go to lane. JDG, their bottom lane was kind of playing in a weird spot. They were sitting in Tri-Brush. They were waiting for them to show on the wave. But as soon as Shun gets caught off guard by someone like Starry, it turns into a great start. So not only did Hung get the advantage, he took his wolves, immediately moved towards the top side. He gets all of his camps here as well. I was like, okay, I actually would have been fine with a map split there. Yes, you're leaving Misfortune and Rel to the woes of a Nidalee, but it would have been fine because Hung gets to start on his blue buff. And as a Zyra, this is one of the camps you really need, especially early on. It gives you ability haste, it gives you cooldown, or it gives you mana regen, especially in the jungle early on. You're going to need that for someone like Zyra with no items. Starting this Nidalee off behind, she is going to be a great power farmer, but it is going to take a few seconds off, and you do not want to try to get into a race versus Zyra if she's able to get it back before you do.
And even further, Nidalee for Shun is supposed to be the big playmaker to try and unlock this early to mid-game power spiking for JDG's comp, and now it's looking, that's at least 2 camps behind this power farming Zyra. I mean, Hung is going to immediately He's skipping his scuttle. He doesn't want it. They're looking for more blood here onto Allah. Will not be spotted Hung just yet. Allah, if he picks a very unfortunate time to place a ward, he's going to get rooted. But not enough damage like you called out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he has that timer, right? Because he knows that Shun is behind, so why not just go for the bottom side scuttle? It is very hard for him to contest on the top side. His bottom lane is getting pushed in, or I guess the Australian bottom lane is getting pushed in favor of JDG. They have them stuck under their turret. You see that right now Scout has been a very big nuisance for Lin to deal with. This is just kind of the nature of the matchup. Also, you don't see it because it is covered by the Smolder Stacks, but Lin has elected to go for the Grasp of the Undying. That, I think, is completely normal. We've seen that been kind of the adaptation ever since they really nerfed Fleet Footwork, especially for ranged champions.
Shun makes his appearance back towards the side of the map that burned him most. Is Lin taking pretty big trade there from Scout. Both these marksmen pretty low on mana, though. No real
Hey, Lin, come on, bro.
-2?
Missed?
Oh. Those are missed Smolder Stacks, too. I mean, that just compounds the problem.
Ah, man. If we lose the game due to one missed Smolder Stack, then whatever.
Hey.
Game's over anyway. You should have just lost the game either way. It's not that big of a deal, but these things add up, and usually if you miss one, at least in my case, especially if you're in call with the homies, you're gonna start missing a few of them back to back. You got all the pressure, everyone's going -1. That's one of the most fun things you can do when you're hanging out with the homies.
Most fun things, and just knock them down. This sounds like a good way to attribute to a negative win rate in Flex. So good to see that Harry's still watching himself there, not looking across the map, or he eats another. Shun is just like, no back for you. Instead, we're bringing the dive. There's the first stun. We're going to land. Knockup comes through for Harry, though. Forces the dominance out of Allah. And he's not able to get the kill. He flashes just to make it safe. That's classic Orange Gaming at its finest.
That's incredible. I mean, it forces out the ult from Allah. He'll be able to back this wave. He's probably going to be able to catch most of it. Allah's just going to immediately shove it in. The teleport changes also do mean that it does take a little bit longer for him to get there. I think he probably misses out on half the wave now, actually, because he didn't instantly teleport from when he got back to base. So he does miss a fair portion of this wave. But you know that now Shun was on the bottom side of the map. Renekton has now committed the teleport, as we can take a look back at this replay. I thought this was a little bit risky, as Harry does not have very much mana. He obviously didn't have a lot of HP, but Shen does not have the damage or the items in his inventory. Almost goes down to the heated up turrets, which is one of the changes coming into this season.
Buffed up.
And now that they know Nidalee there, guess what? That's a full grub take here coming in from OMG on the first take.
You gotta wonder if that level 1 was a little bit nicer to Shun. Does he have enough damage for that dive? It's the, you know, hypothetical scenario starting to really compound as OMG are back in that early game groove. Grab the first Monster Slayer, stacking towards Feats of Strength. And remember, they've got first blood. So once again, it's OMG in control of the Feats of Strength, with JDG kind of scrambling, especially with their jungler being the one so far behind to get back going.
I think before the grub spawn, so 3.5 minutes, JDG are looking to try to take first turret. I mean, we've seen them constantly have priority in all of these lanes. They're getting a lot of turret plates early on, so that'll be something that they should be looking for if they're trying to contest for Feats of Strength. And so for OMG, by having this early advantage in the first 2 epic monsters, I am going to be looking towards them being able to contest for maybe not this dragon, but second and third Drake and potentially Herald, because I am kind of wanting to see from JDG that second grub spawns and you're looking to be on that objective and ready to fight. I mean, you have Ezreal that's going to be at least finished with one of his first items when we're talking about that fight. Scout should be on the same thing. We're looking for this JDG composition to really come online on 2. Trinity Force and Muramana for Scout and Pays is going to be a massive item for them both.
Real first bump up for both of these champions. It'll be fun for everyone that likes the symmetry of these build paths. You're going to get it from Pays and Scout likely for a bit of these items. Sorry, Moham able to buy a bit of space here, but that nice ward from Missing does spot Hung, so they know not to try for any of these engages and wrestle back control. Shun is opted to takes the scuttle and then does not opt to go for that first dragon. He's stealing away camps, or not stealing, excuse me, just catching camps.
He's stealing his own camps. That's a jungler right there. Good for him. Yeah. That's what they did with the buffs, right? When they made that blue buff and red buff were both global, that's what they were looking for. Okay, we're going for a dive here on a Harry.
We're going back to this well. Harry does get a good knockup, but does need a max range spear, and this time Shun's got more than enough damage. So nice, had to try it twice, and they get the job done this time.
Right, but top lane, this dive has to go. It doesn't look like they're going for a dive. It looks mostly like they want to try to crash this turret and get as many turret plates, get this really low so they can set up for the Herald or for the grubs that are spawning in a minute and a half. That's what Zyra ult and a Misfortune ult. These will both be available for the objective fight. They're going to just chase down Paze. He's dead.
He has flash. He commits it just a little bit too late. The disrespect from JDG in these early games is now continued over. It spilled over to game 2, and OMG are happy to just gobble up more gold.
Maybe Sun was just not confident to take the Dragon there because it is Mountain Dragon, and Mountain Dragon is one of the more resilient Drakes. It would take him a really long time, and like we said, I want to see JDG contesting for this grub on the top side in a minute's time. You still have Sun and Scout that are in good positions. While a death is going to feel pretty bad for someone like Paze, you are still playing Ezreal, so missing out on your flash is not as big of a deal as playing one of the many other different AD carries that don't have a mobility spell. As you take a look back at this replay, that ultimate doesn't hit the entire wave, so they can't really thin it all that well. This ultimate also means that Missing can no longer be that big frontliner for Paze, and just too much chip damage has kind of landed onto him. Like you said, the flash was just too late. It does get both flash from Moham and Starry, so if there was ever a fight where we're going to see the solo laners of JDG really step up, I think it is going to have to come within the next 3 minutes before that summoner spell is back up and available.
Bit of foreshadowing for OMG for the potential big teamfight combo they're looking for. The Strangle Thorns and the Bullet Time. It's going to rip through any and everybody except maybe Missing with that Unbreakable Will. Unbreakable has been OMG's will at playing towards these grubs as they do see the second spawn hit the river, and Hung immediately looking to clear out this vision. Really hard for Shun to try and match at this point. Paze Missing all swinging over. Got a walk up coming from Ulla in the background. First grub's going to go down for Hung, so they at least deny JDG from getting the next Monster Slayer goal. But none of the other grubs are near death for Shun to try and grab themselves.
Scout is teleporting into mid lane, and as long as JDG steal one of these, that will stop them from being able to take the feat of strength.
Harry's taking a ton of damage. Moham's going to go in. Bullet Time comes across, gets canceled because Ulla flies into the background, soaring like a croc from the river, looking for his treat, and he's going to knock down OMG. There's the X factor JDG needed to break this game back open and get into a groove.
You said it was a flying croc from Allah. Well, guess what? Denial happens in the river there. They take some more of these cams. Shun will be able to get at least 2 of the grubs, and that's going to be the stoppage of play from OMG. They're not going to be able to get all of the grubs here for that second part of the epic monsters for Feat of Strength. As we take a look back at this fight, I mean, look at where Moham is. Half HP, the damage dealers, they're starting to get that bullet time, but Allah in this backline. Harry even summoned the Call of the Forge God, but misses it at the very end there. So gets 2 kills over to Allah. Sun is able to get into the backline as well, gets a double kill for himself. Great job from JDG to show back up. It was what, kind of a questionable early game here coming into game 2.
Now all of a sudden they've grabbed themselves a pretty mighty goal difference, up about 2,000 now. Shun rebounded pretty gracefully. He's actually now gone from a disastrous early game to being one of the richest members on the Rift. We did see OMG off their quicker reset timer. The good old gray screen grants you. Are able to grab that first dragon, so they are 1 epic monster away from feats of strength in back-to-back games.
True. Okay. I mean, 4.5 minutes, 3.5 before. I'm really looking towards those turrets, right? JDG, I'm looking across the lanes. The closest ones are the outer tier ones on the side of OMG. They have 2 plates on them. You also have those 4 grubs on the side of OMG, so I want to see if they're going to overload on one side of the map just to try to spawn some of these mites. But OMG are not having a very easy time being able to clear waves, and while all of this is happening, we do have to take into consideration that Linfeng is scaling, has 120 stacks at 13 minutes, which isn't bad by any means. He's picking up stacks for himself, and those dragon practices are going to be very huge when we're talking about playing around Otacon at 20 minutes. Having an execute around then is going to be a big game changer for OMG.
especially when you factor in the burst ability of their ultimate combinations as well. Just enough, just a little bit extra to bring home some of that damage they're looking to teamfight with. But Shun is seemingly back in a bit of a groove here, starting to land these spears, and he's got a Liandry's, a legendary item already completed, and it's actually JDG that are really trying to force onto this top turret. And you don't got an 80 carry up here. Neither marksman to try and cover it, and Hung's having a tough time walking around these traps, walking around these spears all alone.
Starry, I don't know what happened in mid lane, but Paze is able to get priority versus this. They're going to make a dive under this turret. Paze is here, missing.
Hung's entire combo went down just to try and hold missing in place, but he flies under the turret himself, gets the kill, traded back out. Ramping turret damage starting to do a lot good. Sidestep from Mohawk, gets around the spear, jumps all the way in for Paze, forces both summers out of there. Harry goes a bit too far forward, sacrificed himself, and the bullet time has to be canceled. Does Starry have enough damage to try and trade these kills out? Absolutely not. One phosphorus bomb, one more rocket, a mystic shot. It's a spear downtown from Shun. Fight win, JDG.
Starry cannot get the love taps reset. He's trying to get it on a different target so he can apply that damage, but there's no one in range for him to hit. And Loleventvods, he's going to walk up to Allah here. There's no turret. He still has flash.
He's going to flash over the wall.
He's out. Okay, all right, nice. Good job. But that's a turret going over. That's going to be a feat of strength confirmed here for JDG. And now it's all about, can they get this last epic monster minute before the Rift Herald spawns, 2 minutes before the dragon is here. And either one of those objectives going over to OMG is going to give them boot upgrades, but I'll be honest, I don't think it matters. We've been talking a lot about feats, but it's 5,000 gold here for JDG. Specifically, the solo laners are really starting to expound a massive gold differential. Jonas is making these spears land.
Really seeing the power of this poke comp now. You got spears, mystic shots, and rockets to worry about. I love the gall from missing, though. He's like, Hung is too low to be anywhere near a turret. Mohawk with the fancy feet gets around that spear, but here's the real blow, Harry. You're not tanky enough for this kind of work, man.
Oh, man. After that, like, as soon as the play is over, should have just called it, walk back to your side of the map, and just be thankful that Scout and the rest of JDG don't run your entire map. But with that charge, they give multiple resets over to JDG, set up for more kills, and they eventually take that tier 1 for that first feat of strength. So great job from JDG to play that off of a misplay coming in from Harry and OMG. We'll see what they're able to do now, as they're putting a lot of pressure and a lot of their vision right now towards the bottom side of the map. I think they want to try to protect Linfeng, maybe willing to give up this Herald, as it's not that much of an objective. They really want to make sure that Linfeng can get this turret, get some more stacks, and hey, set up our Smolder for success, which was something that we did touch on. We were looking at this in draft.
And you could trade this Herald for the Dragon that's not going to spawn too much further after, especially every second that goes by that JDG don't hop on the Herald. I do see, I believe Scout is just soloing it on his own at this point to try and take it down and deny that last epic monster slayer task for those feats that OMG are in pretty good position for. Starry's eating spears and mystic shots, does dodge out on the next 2 bouts. Spotting missing, maybe coming up for a dive here, but they're just going to back off and take their free epic monster.
Okay, so they get the Herald. Big takeaway. Like we were just saying, whether it's the Herald or the Dragon spawning in 10, that'll be the feats of strength going over to OMG. But any team that has the advantage when it comes to Void Grubs, really, I think, should be prioritizing the Heralds. I mean, Linfeng, you don't have flash this time. Wait, Hung is... Okay, I was going to say, Hung, you need to cancel this recall. You need to protect your mid laner. I don't think this means all that much for OMG. They are losing so much priority in the mid lane of the map, and it doesn't seem like JDG have any mind of trying to contest for this dragon. Even if Loleventvods did get bursted out and had to take a recall, he does have teleport, so he will be able to show up for this fight at any time if he really wants to.
JDG are pushing, pulling, tearing OMG apart across the 3 lanes right here. Scout continuing to smash wave after wave into this turret. And you talked about it all. The disruption of the resets here for OMG actually opens up Shun to just take this dragon all on his own. And what a comeback in the feats of strength. I mean, comeback in general from that early game, but they look dead in the water. No turrets, no epic monsters slain, and now they've got one of those check marks, and they're one more dragon, or I guess potentially Otacon. We're getting close to Otacon making the feats of strength difference.
2 minutes here, a mid-tier 1 going down. It's not looking good for OMG. I mean, it was so pleasant to see this team come in 2 games now with strong reads the first 10 minutes of the game. But you look at the individual advantage here. Oh, missing. He doesn't get the bounce back.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Oh, but
that
the
unbreakable
spears from
will.
Shun, man. Holy crap, man. He's just one-shotting Hung right now.
TP?
Now they're TPing behind him. Good luck, Linfeng. Just hit this turret and pray to Jesus.
Let's see if he guesses right. Now he's going to walk up lane. Dominance back up for Ola. No way out for Baby Dragon this time. You're stuck in the river with the big chomper, Renekton. Oh, he TP's out. I didn't even realize. Wait, Harry just TP'd in.
Wait,
we just did a full
here?
switcheroo. It's a complete switcheroo, Harry. Oh, my friend. They don't have dominance anymore. Now he flashes. Ola follows. Shun is coming across from all the way mid lane. What the hell is going on with these TPs? How does Harry end up dying through all of that?
That happened last game as well. Look, you can see it in the player cam. Linfeng had a little bit of a smile on him. He's like, my bad, dog. This happened literally last game with the Aurora, right? He looked for the teleport, so they know that he went for this. They can obviously see him traveling. It's so weird that, at least on Spectator Clyde, we don't see the teleport. He knows, hey, you don't have a stun anymore. Once that comes down, he uses the ultimate to give him heal. He also has the grasp. Oh, the teleport change is so different. Oh, okay, the animation isn't as, like, super in
It's
your
not
face.
as obvious, yeah.
This is part of the miscommunication. We saw this in game 1 with the Aurora where they were like, okay, we're going to help Harry in this play. They give over some shutdowns and we're like, oh, maybe JDG are really back in this game. But that time around, now Harry dies, loses his TP, loses his flash. Everything is just going from bad to worse here in OMG in this second game. And making game 1 feel like a mirage in what was supposed to be a JDG 3-0.
Just remember, their mid-game last game was pretty rough, and they were able to catapult themselves back in when they got to the later stages. Granted, it was a much easier climb back. You weren't staring down, nearly 7,000 gold difference.
Look at the difference in the jungle and top side right now. I mean, Scout had 1,000 over his opponent, but Linfeng has really been, I think, kind of smart about where he's picking up waves. But almost 6,000 between the two of them for Ala and Shun.
And now we get a new thing. Don't see it too often. Haven't seen the LPL. Otacon will not only grant a revive to likely JDG with the way the pings are going, but will grant feats of strength to whatever team grabs it up, as JDG are the first to start it up.
Okay. Missing, doesn't seem like OMG have the greatest way of entering. Harry is going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and hoof his way over, but we're halfway through the HP here, and I mean, this Otacon, the thing that's the most powerful is the fact that, like Baron, it shreds your armor and magic resist. So right now, Shun is very, very squishy, and more stacks for Linfeng. He's at 215.
Oh, Harry, that's not the dash in again, my friend. You went face first into both marksmen. Harry sacrifices himself. We see Call the Forge God go for nothing. Linfeng uses Mom for virtually nothing, and that is all the way back from the grave. JDG with Otacon. And now, feats of strength booth upgrades.
Voracious Otacon. Actually, no, they don't get the feats of strength here because they didn't get the full camp. You have to get all 3 from one camp of the Krubs.
I think they have them.
Grubs.
Do they
No,
not
they only have 2.
I see the indicator under JDG.
Did they got Herald? That's right.
They got Herald, yeah.
The Dragon, and the Otacon. Those are their 3. Okay, that's right. My bad, everybody. I'm griefing. But Otacon respawn, getting a flash from Linfeng like that, just raw dog, is crazy to me. He has the execute now. If there's ever a time that OMG can come back, it has to be at this point because you're 8,000 gold in the hole, and now there's a GA buff on 4 of the members of JDG.
You got one off of Scout, and he immediately TP's back up the same place he's been for the last 10 minutes, and shoves another wave into that tier 2 turret. Gotta love the dedication here from Scout, as the gold lead has only ballooned a bit more here for JDG. I'm curious how much they're going to push the tempo with this Ruinous Otacon. There's not a lot of areas for themselves to like kind of force the issue. Looks like they might just gobble up whatever free monsters they have on the Rift, which, you know, is camps, waves, and likely this second, or excuse me, just third Drake of the game, first Infernal.
Oh, man. It sucks for OMG because we had so much hope. Again, we said at the top of the show that taking individual games will be kind of fun to see for OMG, but a whole series is going to be a completely different matter, and JDG are showing off a little bit, I think. They are kind of putting hands on the opponents and doing it in a style that I feel is... They're doing it in a way, like I was going to say, that feels very in tune with the champions and the players that have on their team. You're having Pays on this Ezreal. He's kind of able to freely do what he wants in fights. You have Missing on Engage, Shun on a kind of a psychopath jungler that also likes to farm. I think he's most well known for his Kindred, but Nidalee, obviously, he's doing really, really well in the games we've seen so far here in Season 25.
About another 20-ish seconds left on Ruinous Opticon's revive for everybody but Scout. JDG trying to min-max it into getting an inhibitor turret down as Missing flies into the base with Unbreakable Will. Gonna target Lin-Feng, who does not have the flash. Here comes the turn, the bullet time down. The dominance from Allah is gonna get him at least Moham. But those Ruinous revives, or excuse me, Voracious revives, gonna make sure it doesn't cost as much in the bank.
I mean, Allah and Missing are now, they come back to base. You get this third dragon of the game. It's an Infernal Dragon. It'll feel nice, but I don't think we're seeing a soul. I think we're looking at that Baron spawning in 30 seconds for JDG to potentially put the finishing touches on a game 2.
Lin-Feng does have the execute over the stacks threshold. You got two pretty powerful items on Starry, expensive ones, but IE and Bloodthirster are just maxing on the pure damage this Misfortune can bring. It's really Hung that's a bit far behind where you want the Zyra to be by this point. Obviously, down a ton of gold. It's not the most gold. The gap for Ola versus Harry is the biggest one, but I feel like the Hung versus Shun gap is the one that actually hurts the most, knowing how Ornn doesn't care about those items too much.
Yeah. Also, Harry has been a bit starved in terms of experience. We're not seeing a massive differential in terms of like a Blood Roses or Blood Petals, so we can't really say that's making it. He's almost 4.5 levels down versus Allah right now, and usually that doesn't all that matter. You know, 4.5 levels between champions is obviously a very big influence, but especially for someone like Ornn who wants to hit the level 14 breakpoint so you can start giving out those Masterwork items to your team, is kind of a big deal. He is one of the few top laners that you are kind of really focused on making sure that he gets time alone in a side lane or being able to pick up experience where he can. And by overgrouping with his team, he's far behind. Moham is taking way too much poke right now. Baron is being started by Scout. He's just soloing this. Now he's going to be able to do this with Shun, and looks like they want to try to at least bait the rest of OMG to just walk into the poke.
Hung, that felt like a stake to the heart almost, maybe a couple inches off. One spear. He's half HP at this point, and this is exactly what JDG drafted for. If you are walking anywhere near a part of the map you don't have vision, thank you, observers. You can see JDG are dark in the darkness so many ways. You got to worry about spears, mystic shots, rockets. JDG are going to turn onto that Baron, but how do you walk in here if you're OMG? There's just so many projectiles to worry about. They at least do force a reset off the Baron, but Allah's going for the flake of a century.
Yeah, Allah has the flank, and Starry did lose his strut passive during all of this, so JDG are going to turn now.
Ooh, Ola's taking a lot of time to get here. Missing's trying to find time, loses the Breakable Will. Mom comes down, Ola's in the background. Shun finds a snipe onto Starry, and now the marksman can sing their praises and step up. Scouts flashing forward. Ola is untouched. Cannot find any trades. Will finally drop, but Pays is untouched off to the side. Lin-Feng is just going to fall a bit too flat with his baby dragon. Ace over to JDG. They're not even going to need Baron. What a response after the disastrous game 1.
We said that they were sleeping giants. Their Demacia Cup was disappointing, but so far here in the start of LPL, they're slowly making their way through this group. They're making it not look super clean, but a win is a win at the end of the day, and it looks like we're going to be taking it to a Game 4 at the very least between JDG and OMG.
Just the formalities of the Nexus turrets and the final Crystal Gem broken open. It still was a bit rocky there, Alk.